And now music with Gabe Miller. That's our segue into the next topic because we're in content.
Yes.
We're content.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, we are content.
We are content. I am the Senate.
We are the content.
And we are content.
I am the content.
Yes! Oh, your reference is so much better than me. Mine.
Yes.
So what have you guys been listening to recently?
Don't want to bust out my Spotify.
Oh, boy. What did I just add? Okay, have you heard Miley Cyrus's new song?
No,
is that the one with Mark Ronson?
Yeah, actually, I think it's Mark Ronson's new song with Miley Cyrus, but whatever. I don't. Who's Mark Ronson?
Yeah.
Who cares
Close
about
enough.
that guy?
I think I've heard it once. It's personally just not my thing. I just can't really get into anything Miley Cyrus post Party in the USA.
Interesting. I like how her voice sounds in that song. Like it, she has a very raspy voice that she's trying to shove into like a pop sound all the time, and it just doesn't work for me most of the time. That's why I don't like Miley Cyrus. It's not her that I'm hearing whenever I'm hearing her pop songs.
Sure.
So
It's just kind of edgy and just like, what are you doing, man?
yeah,
Kind of thing. Or
her regular stuff. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, sure. Yeah, also her edgy stuff. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying with that. Yeah, her edgy stuff is also just like, look, I get it. You're a Disney kid. You're going through your edgy phase, all right?
Right,
Like,
right.
Just wake me up when you're done, and maybe I'll check back in, all right? But
Wake me up! Wake me up!
wow,
Save
amazing, great, 10 out of 10 reference.
excellent.
I love it. Yeah, but I don't know. She sounds to me like more like Dolly Parton or something, and something that's kind of like a little bit more somber, and it kind of fits her voice better. So I don't know. I like it.
Nice.
I can get the appeal of that. I don't know if it's necessarily stuff that I am personally into. Like, I can't really get into her voice or that kind of music much at all, personally.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, you know.
Yeah, Nothing Breaks Like the Heart. I'm going to try not to play it out loud. Please stop. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll give it a listen. I'll definitely give it a listen.
I don't want it
I'm intrigued.
I don't want you to get in trouble for copyrighted stuff.
Copyright.
Nothing Breaks Like a Heart, and I can't.
You know what? After the podcast, you can just like play it afterward. We'll just continue talking.
Get reactions.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've been listening to my latest rabbit hole I've gone down. Have you guys ever heard of Knower or Lewis Cole?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so Lewis Cole is this funk musician who came up on the internet, and he's been on YouTube for like 10 years, and he's also one half of a duo called Knower, and they make just the weirdest friggin' music. It's incredibly obnoxiously funky.
Wow.
And it embraces how funky it is. It's this like electro jazz funk kind of insanity, and it's excellent.
Nice.
And they've got like other people they bring on, like a friend of theirs who's a keyboardist, a saxophonist, and just really good music. And
nice.
unabashedly funky. It's glorious.
It's great when they just like own it. Whatever is weird
Yeah.
about them.
It's kind of funny, the current crop of, at least on the internet, a lot of the kind of people doing stuff in, like, kind of funky music is all skinny nerds.
Wow.
Like, another example is Bill Wirtz, actually. Is another example, like, his music's very funky, and it's very kind of out there. And so there's, like, him, and then there's this band called Wolfpack that are also kind of that. And it's, like, this kind of race to, like, who can make the funkiest track. But it's all like with these people who are like somehow ridiculously good musicians, and they all know each other. And yeah, it's just really good songwriting, good musicianship, and I'm digging it.
I like
and
it.
it's fun.
There's a song called "When You're Ugly" by Lewis Cole. That's
the one to start off with
pretty good.
is like "Weird Part of the Night."
Okay.
Is another one. That's a good one to start with. For those of you who don't like cursoring, advisoring warning.
Parental.
But if you don't mind that, it's excellent.
True.
That or there's one that's like a live session where they play their song Overtime, and that's Knower, and that too that's a good place to start.
I like it.
That's pretty insane. That's lovely.
I added it to my playlist.
Nice.
There.
Nice.
I'm gonna listen to it.
Sweet.
Cool. How about you? What have you been listening to?
Who's who?
Bagel.
Bagel.
Oh, me? Okay, because you just point and it's like, wait, who are you pointing?
I've answered the question, sir.
How about you? I've been listening to this really pretty good EP that came out, was it like last month? I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Daybreak.
Aw, thanks, man.
Hey.
No, I'm kidding. That's trash.
That's fair.
But actually, talking about stuff that you might not know of, most likely don't. So, Colin, the guy from episode 1 of the podcast, on his Bandcamp, he has recommendations.
Okay.
And one of the recommendations was this band called Boyfriends from like... They made some music in like 2009 and 2010,
Okay.
and then just dropped off the face of the planet completely. And they're impossible to find. They have like a Facebook page, but they haven't used it since 2013, so they're really like nowhere to be found, pretty much. So it's like really mysterious in that way, and you just find this music. It's like, where did this come from? Because it's basically like really kind of hard punk rock emo music where they have really good guitar tones and instrumentals, and then you can't really make out all of the lyrics because he's kind of just screaming them in the background.
Sure.
But it's the kind of stuff that it sounds good to me personally.
Okay.
Like they have mainly like what? Let me see here. Yeah, they have like a couple, I guess, different demos that don't really matter. But they have basically three main projects that are the ones that are probably like the ones that are to be the ones that get checked out. That was a difficult way of saying that. But they have like a thing called Demo 2009, which has 4 songs on it, and then they have the Boyfriend's 7-inch, which actually got printed on vinyl apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened because like who are these guys?
Wow.
But yeah, that's 3 songs on it, and then they have the edgy name alert people. It's called the the Boyfriends / Boys and Sex Split 7-inch. So 2 of the songs on it are from Boyfriends, and then the other 2 are from another mysterious band called Boys and Sex, and they kind of make like the exact same music basically, which is the same kind of good instrumentals, but they're just screaming inaudible stuff in the background.
It's the aesthetic. It's the aesthetic.
Yeah. Like I feel like you have to really be in a certain mood for it. But it's pretty good stuff. It's an interesting thing to find, like in the deep crevices of Bandcamp. I think he actually found it because one of his friends actually found the vinyl in a bookstore. So
okay, that's cool.
That's an interesting way to find an artist and then realize, oh, these guys are nowhere to be found.
Right. It's like you've stumbled on a niche thing that turns out to be even more of a niche thing. And it's like this weird discovery where the planets line up, and you're like, wow, how did I find this?
Because on like on their Bandcamp, they have a link to their website, but then it says like Arrow 108 or whatever the
Right.
So it's like
404 just not found.
It just is.
Yeah. It's just like not found.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. I'll have to like send it to you guys or like play something for you.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
It's interesting. I feel like a lot of the mysteriousness about it is kind of like in a way an appeal.
Yeah, definitely.
It adds to the appeal of just like really good guitar tones with
right
in the background.
But it adds to the like, well, I gotta check this out because it's this weird undiscovered thing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like their name is Boyfriends with like a period at the end.
Okay.
Because I've been
like,
searching
also
this whole time.
If you look up,
and I can't.
If you look up just their name on YouTube, you probably won't find them. You have to like put in like one of their songs with it, and then you'll find like the audio for that.
Yeah. Do you have like show notes for this show? Can you put it there or something, like a link?
I do not, but I should start that actually. For the time being, until I get the show notes, they will be in the description of the YouTube video of this podcast episode.
I mean, it's anything is show notes if you just call it that. So
yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah, so like if you recommend something or a guest recommends something, you can just be like,
check the description,
link in the doobly doo.
But yeah, other than that, I've been into a bunch of folk punk recently. If you know what that is.
What?
You know folk punk?
No.
It's like
that like
it's like folk music.
Go ahead.
But it's also punk.
But punkier.
it's folk music but punkier.
It's also punk.
Because because Boyfriends is punk, but it's not as light as folk punk.
Yeah. So is this like kind of American
like,
folk,
I found
or
this,
is this like
it's like an American thing?
Okay.
Mainly. And there's this album called "This City Isn't Big Enough" by this band called Apes of the State.
Okay.
And they just have like they have like a lot of banjos and violins, and it's a really good sounding album, which I will also link, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Although they got a couple bad words there. Oh no. But yeah, they have like an intro, which is kind of just them like setting up their instruments, and then it goes into like the first song, which is already like the first song is one of the best songs on the record. It's called "Sober Intentions," and just kind of just starts off, and it's like, I got sober intentions. It's really good.
That's tight.
It's really good.
I love me a good genre merging.
Absolutely, it's real good stuff.
There's this band, and this does involve a curse word, so if you want to bleep it out, you can. But called Smoky Bastard.
Nice.
And they're
I'm
like,
not gonna bleep that out.
Oh gosh. So stuff on like their album Back to the Drawing Room or Tales from the Wasteland. I haven't listened to the entirety of it, but they they have this kind of like steampunk aesthetic going on.
Ooh.
And so like they know exactly what they're doing. It's like a whole aesthetic. And it's this Irish folk punk. It's great.
It's incredible.
Nice.
It's very weird, but it works pretty flawlessly.
Nice.
Anyway,
I really wish I could
also,
remember
as long as I'm talking about folk punk, I should probably mention just like one more band artist under this. I don't even know a lot about it. I just heard about it from my friend Alden, and they produced they produced his favorite record of last year, which is called what is it? Oh, it's called 9, except it's IX.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a Lord of the Rings concept record, basically.
Bro.
Ooh.
And he kind of from what I've seen, I guess, he kind of ties Lord of the Rings into kind of his past drinking problems and different things like that.
Huh.
And it's an interesting listen, to say the least.
That does sound interesting.
It's pretty good too.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
definitely. I would have to listen to it more, but I know that the first 2 tracks are the best, mainly because like the first one kind of is really slow and then leads into the next one really well.
Yeah.
And then it has a really nice chorus on it with kind of his really raspy voice. Oh, no, I can't even do it. I was about to do it, but I can't.
I was like, oh no, he's gonna puke.
So here's a question that I just thought of. What's a guilty pleasure song? If you if you think that a guilty pleasure even is a thing that exists, because some people don't. Some people are like, nah, I'm open about all of it. I think it's all great.
Right.
Yeah. Like in a way, I can see guilty pleasure definitely existing, and I can easily like point at like different films and be like, oh, that's a guilty pleasure. But like when it comes to like music, I have such a wide taste. It's like, is anything a guilty pleasure?
I knew you were going to say
definitely.
that.
Because I feel like music I feel like music is way more subjective than movies are.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can see that. Because at least with movies, there's like, oh, I can tell this was a competent director. They had a good soundtrack or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, and you can pick apart like story and stuff. And then especially with like blockbuster and stuff, movies are made to be very likable, whereas music, people take more risks, and there's
and then
more time to find a niche.
Right.
Yeah, and with music, it's easier to find people saying, "Oh, this is terrible." While you find other people saying, "This is the greatest thing ever."
Right.
It's way easier to find
definitely.
Right. Okay, so first of all, I'm so glad I went first in that first question because I said Miley Cyrus, and then you guys brought up cool bands.
Yep.
But I'm gonna continue with that theme and say that Justin Bieber's "Love Yourself" was kind of a guilty pleasure. I felt because I literally felt guilty when I said, "Oh, I like that song."
It's a good song. I don't know if I haven't been as vocal about it recently. I used to be like vocal about it like a couple years ago when Purpose dropped, but I am such a huge JB fan, to be honest.
It's
like,
not bad.
I don't know if I would say
bangers.
huge. Yeah. I don't know if I would necessarily say huge now, but like I really appreciate a lot of the work that he's put into his music.
Right.
You can dig it.
Yeah, I can dig it really easily, especially
Okay.
his most recent album, which I'm still waiting for the new one since it's been like 3 years or something.
It's been a minute.
Over
yeah.
3 years. My gosh.
Yeah, and see, okay, so I felt less guilty when I heard that Ed Sheeran wrote that song. So just saying.
Oh.
Because
like
you're a
Ed Sheeran
Ed fan?
Yeah, I like Ed Sheeran, and I don't care what anybody says.
Ed Sheeran's great.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Ed Sheeran, like, love him or hate him, it's hard to argue that he's not a good songwriter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's like, he is a good songwriter, both in terms of like catchy stuff and lyrically. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like, even if it doesn't like mesh with your taste in music.
Yeah, I mean, he made Justin Bieber. He made me like Justin Bieber. So I mean, I don't know what bigger challenge he could ever take on.
Yeah. Also, there's this music reviewer YouTuber that I watch, ARTV, if you know him.
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I watch him, and basically he's not really a huge Ed Sheeran fan, but he had like a top 10 live performances video or whatever, and I forgot what the song was. Shoot. Hold on one moment. I have to find
Who's it
this. It's
by?
going to kill me. Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Is this
but
where Ed,
the song-
where he does
Yes,
the,
okay.
the looper?
So, huh?
Is this when he uses the looper, or is this like a full band thing? Or
Oh, I think it's the looper basically, and but yeah, he was
That
talking
makes my
about
soul happy.
yes, it's great.
like this.
I've actually seen him live, and it's fantastic.
That's
But
cool.
basically, he had like a top 10 live performances video, and he just kind of like showed little clips before each one that he talked about. And he's not a huge Ed Sheeran fan, but he talked about like just how good the performance was. It was You Need Me, I Don't Need You. And basically with each performance, apparently, he ad-libs differently on each one he does, supposedly.
Nice.
And keep in mind, this is like a kind of rap hip-hop thing.
Right.
So
Right.
he's kind of like ad-libbing his raps.
Incredible.
And so,
That's tight.
he basically said that like, even though he's not a huge fan of him, it's just so hard to deny his talent.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
Regardless, he's a very talented musician.
Absolutely. And he
Even if
can
he doesn't
really
do it for you.
shred an acoustic guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the person who made me like the Biebs though was Skrillex jumping on to when he produced. I think he produced the entire album, or at least most of it.
He produced most of it.
And then
Most
when-
notably, which ones?
Sorry.
Most notably, Sorry, I'll Show You,
Which is a banger.
and Children, which
yeah,
is also a
and
really
then
good
Justin
one.
Bieber did on one of his songs when Skrillex did the collaboration EP with Diplo.
Yeah, the Where Are You Now?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like even though it's cheesy, like that song's
Yeah.
a banger.
It is.
It's a banger.
It is, man. Skrillex, he's great.
Yeah.
I remember, I think the first Skrillex song I heard was back in like, my gosh, like what, 2012 potentially?
Yeah. I think that was the time that all
with-
of us heard it.
Yeah, it was Cinema.
That's
Okay.
a good one. That's
Yeah,
good.
that was.
It holds up. I listened to it recently.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it dates itself pretty heavily, but I still like it. It's still a jam.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was just I have to look this up later. This is fantastic.
Yeah. My first one was Right In. I don't know if you've heard that one.
Wow.
It's kind of
I
a
haven't heard
similar style. That was from like the Bangarang kind of time.
Okay.
And once again, when I first heard that and it hits you with that sound, like I had never heard anything like it.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because that kind of stuff had been bubbling up in the underground, especially overseas in the UK. Dubstep had been around a lot longer. But over here, that was when it first kind of hit, and a bunch of us went, "What's this? This is cool."
Yeah.
Yep. Mine was Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, which
Yep.
I feel like was
Yep.
most people's. I was
Yeah,
surprised
definitely.
when both of you said something different other than that song.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to movies, I'm pretty on top of things. With music, I've always been a little out of the loop
Interesting.
until somewhat recently, and even then, when it comes to like popular music, I'm still out of the loop. I'm just very on top of electronic music now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I could tell you what all the trends are in dubstep and house music, but I couldn't tell you what the latest like top 40 song was. Just not because I don't like it, but I just don't tend to keep up with it unless I'm recommended something.
Right.
So
hey, makes you cooler though. Tell you that.
it's just this obscure dubstep bang you've never heard before.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it's still going. It's like the sound of dubstep has completely moved on from what it used to be. It's like this whole other thing now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite like it. It's a bit of an acquired taste because a lot of it's pretty obnoxious, but it's obnoxious in a way that I enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
I only listen to really underground electronic music. Thank you. Next. What's that?
I do like Thank You Next. My sister played that for me recently. I was like, wow.
That's actually
this is a
really good
friggin'
song.
banger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
All three of the Ariana Grande songs right now, I feel like, are pretty good.
Which are the...
She's been killing it, man.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Keep Breathing?
I feel like she's...
The other one?
Yeah, it's Breathing.
Yeah.
That's right. Breathing, Thank You Next, and...
Look, I may have made up the third one. I don't know.
You may have made up... Because I can name a couple other ones, honestly.
Yeah. There's probably another one that's still hanging on from her last album or something.
There's actually
Sure.
No Tears Left to Cry, which is really
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's the third one I was thinking of. Absolutely. I'm just going to say that, just even though I don't even know if that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I just made that up. Just
Oh, no.
You would.
No, it does exist.
It does.
Okay. Yeah.
Even I
just
know
a-
that much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I knew that. The other song was actually I don't know the name somehow, but the God is a Woman or something like that. I think it's
I think it's the name. Yeah,
what it's
that sounds
called.
about right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the other one on the radio. There you go.
There
Nice.
you go, man.
There you go.
Sorry.
Wow, you really know your Ariana Grande.
Yep. After
Congrats.
you just give me like 20 minutes, I will remember 3 songs by her.
3 songs.
Nice.
3 songs that are like the ones that only people who don't listen to her would know.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Sorry. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I was just gonna say kind of like a little transition. Or should I say transition? What do you think of Anthony Fantano?
Oh no.
I've been I went through an Anthony Fantano binge pretty recently, actually. I don't remember what prompted it. I think it was the Let's Argue series on the Fantano channel.
That's so entertaining.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Also, have you seen his?
Oh, go ahead.
Have you seen his?
That's fun. That's fun.
Yes. That's fun.
That's fun.
It's a real knee
but
slapper,
yeah.
that is.
It's real good.
Oh,
Sorry.
man. But yeah, have you seen his? It was kind of a parody, even though he did it like more than one time. But he has a series now called Let's Agree, and it's like then he has like his face. He's like, I agree.
Right.
It's really good.
Damn is an album made by Kendrick Lamar.
I agree.
I have no choice but to agree.
Wow.
I love him.
Well, the thing is, he didn't hate Damn either, though.
No, he gave it a
But
7.
people still give
but
him
that became a
crap for
meme.
it. Right. People still give him crap for it, even though he liked the album. It was a yellow flannel worthy album. Yeah. The interesting thing about Fantano though is that even though I've watched enough of him at this point, enough of his both positive and negative reviews to have a pretty good understanding of what his opinion is. And when he did his countdown for this year, I actually went and checked out a bunch of his recommendations, like anything that kind of sounded interesting. I went and at least listened to a couple of songs of. And the interesting thing is that in a lot of cases, he and I have very, very different tastes in music. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the stuff that he loved, I was like, that's pretty cool. Like I can see why he loved that, but it didn't hit me where it needed to.
Yeah.
And then some of the stuff that he was more kind of about I connected with, like something like a good example was Muse's new album. Like he reviewed that and he was kind of like and actually a lot of people were kind of like and I listened to that and that hit me where I wanted it to because it's like this kind of sci-fi apocalyptic synthwave rock.
Wow.
Which is basically exactly what I wanted in life.
Yeah.
So but even then I'll still continue to watch him just because for one thing he's very entertaining on camera. But then for another thing, I think there's still value in a critic even if you don't always agree with them.
Absolutely.
Because it forces you to clarify your own opinion.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
So well, why does he like this and why don't I? Or why doesn't he like this and why do I like it?
Absolutely.
Instead of just getting all defensive, being like, well, you don't like it because you're an idiot.
Right.
But
it makes
of what he
you,
has to say is really interesting.
Right, because he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it helps you
You know what I
sharpen
mean?
your own
Whether
opinions.
or not... Yeah, exactly. And so, I can definitely dig me some Fantano.
That's awesome. Yep. That's why I used to listen to Grace Randolph, because I always disagreed with her on movies. And then she just, like, every video was something political about a movie or a movie news story. And I was just like, why? I don't... Like,
Sure.
The fact that I disagree with you on politics just makes this annoying. Like, I don't care what percentage freaking Jasmine is.
Talk about movies.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about the movie. Who cares about your politics?
Like,
I didn't click on the video for politics. I clicked on it for, like, if I want politics, I'll go somewhere else.
Or a good example of this going wrong is J.K. Rowling and her interactions on Twitter.
oh boy,
because the way that she's done it, and like people on the left and right are both kind of mad at her at this point.
Yeah,
because she's clearly kind of retconning stuff with no context.
Yeah, just
You know
trying
what I
to get
mean?
brownie points completely.
Right, and it's like a more obvious example where it seems like she doesn't actually care about, culture she's trying to represent or anything like that.
Yeah,
she just cares about, but this person, and it doesn't work because you don't care about the culture or the personalities or telling interesting stories that,
You're just pandering.
Right.
Oh yeah,
And
it
makes no one happy.
Yeah, do you watch Gus Johnson at all?
No.
Nope.
No? Okay, well, he makes, like, kind of minute-long... He makes longer videos sometimes, but, like, his skits and stuff are, like, a minute long, and he has a video called J.K. Rowling These Days.
Oh, boy.
And she's just, like, peeking around the corner, and it's like, hey, guess what? Guess which character's gay? And then it's like, what? All of them? And then she runs away.
All of that.
Man.
It's really funny.
Incredible. Yeah.
Good times.
See, I get annoyed with the pandering, honestly, especially if they're trying to pander to me, and I'm like, no,
Ooh.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
because even like
No, my least favorite feeling is to be pandered
Right.
to, just in general.
when I heard about Miles Morales' character like 10 years ago or whenever he was created, I don't know, I was like,
Long time ago.
all right, I like Peter Parker. Like, Spider-Man is literally my favorite character. And I relate to him because he's like a kid who's just trying to, get it together. Not because... And making him half Hispanic is not going to make me relate to him more,
Sure.
Making,
Sure.
Miles Spider-Man, it's not helping. So, but Spider-Verse doesn't, like, really... lean into that too much in an annoying way. Like, his parents are there, his mom speaks a little bit of Spanish, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. I like Spanish.
Yeah.
That's fine. Whatever. It's not like, oh, I suddenly relate to him because he has darker skin. No, I relate to Peter Parker. It doesn't matter what he looks like, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
It comes down to the way the character's, written.
Right, exactly.
Trying to say it in a nice, intelligent point here.
Look, that was a real podcasting moment because you
It truly was.
Sometimes it happens and you're just like, and I like listening to the Weekly Planet. I'm like, dude, I could tell you're trying to get through this sentence and you're just really trying not to burp. Like, just burp. Who cares?
I've always wondered what you do if you're like a singer or like a stand-up comedian or something, and you just have to.
I just realized I've never seen. What am I talking? I've never seen a stand-up comic burp. Ever.
Wow.
I don't think.
And I feel like they could just work that in. Like, they're a comedian.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah, they could.
You could play that off.
Yeah.
Maybe I have, and it was really disguised really well, but I don't think I've ever seen that.
Right. I mean,
Right.
they could, like, drink some water, and then they have their, during a laugh, they have their mic away from their face, they're drinking water,
Yep.
they burp, and then
Yep.
they're back.
Possibly.
Yeah, and then there are the people who can just play it off, like people who are good with interruptions, and like especially like with hecklers and stuff. They're like the classic, like your Bo Burnhams or something, who will always just like immediately have a comeback for a heckler.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or like another example, you were there when we saw Mike Falzone, right? Bagel?
Which guy
At
was that?
VidCon? Long-haired
which-
dude who had
Yes.
kidney stones.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, my.
And like half of his act was improv, and him just like bouncing off the crowd basically, and taking what the crowd gave him and working with it. And I didn't really have a point there, but I thought that was cool.
That's very cool.
I don't have a point, but that guy was
great. There's this one video of Tim Hawkins where the mic goes out, and yeah. If you guys have seen that, if you haven't seen it, it's great.
Maybe
he at first, he's like making fun of the I don't know, stagehand that's like, hold it in the middle, and he's like, what do you mean hold it in the middle? I'm holding. He's like, just like roasting this guy that's like, hold it in the middle. Yeah, okay, just tell me how to hold a mic. And then he, like, it just straight up cuts out for like the 5th time. And he just keeps, like, he acts like he's continuing with the set. He's not saying anything. He's just mouthing words. And he just goes on and, like, gesticulating and everything. And, and then they hand him a new mic. He keeps going.
That's great.
And then he says into the mic, and that's how I found Jesus. Yeah.
That's great.
I was like, dude, that
man.
is the most epic way to deal with that. I love it.
That's really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, when they have that type of thing, or like just somebody having a funny laugh that just keeps interrupting him and he turns it into a bit, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
Also, like, in a way related, but also not.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was.
I mean, like, that's like the number one rule of podcasting is
related,
tangents.
but not really.
So, proceed.
Yes, and.
Yeah. I have to watch it again, but I think it was in Make Happy, Bo Burnham. His stand-up routines are so well orchestrated with the music and everything. Like, I know there was a part in it where it looked like he made a mistake, and he was like, "That was planned."
Nice.
Something like that. But yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I still have to see 8th Grade, his movie.
Same.
I have to see it again.
I've heard good
I have it on
things.
Blu-ray now.
Nice.
How is it?
Here's the reason I have to see it again, because it is competing against Spider-Verse for my favorite film of last year.
Wow.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Wow.
Dead serious. Because I walked out of the theater and I was like, that's flawless. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Because all the awkward moments are so, it's all intentional.
Right.
And I don't know. There's not a lot I can really complain about.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, I just listened
like I've seen reviews online, and there's just like nothing anyone can really pick apart from it, other than like you can either love it or there's a potential that a lot of people might find it boring, and that's the only thing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I feel like it really is a love it or it's not your thing.
Right.
Sure. But
like
if
you're okay,
can't pick it apart for being like bad.
Yeah,
like it's a well-crafted movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really incredible too how that was the first film that he wrote and directed.
Seriously.
And it's great.
Yeah. And surprise, like the best child actors you will ever see.
Nice.
Like seriously.
Those are hard to find, dude.
Yeah. For once, 8th graders are playing 8th graders.
Oh my gosh! What a revolutionary idea!
And there's just so many moments that it pulls you in so much because of how realistic it is, more than anything else. Because they stumble over their words and you have to restart what they're saying, and I feel like it sounds boring the way I'm like explaining
it feels realistic. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like this is manufactured like by what Hollywood thinks 8th grade is.
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, realistic like movies about life are often. If you try to pitch it to somebody, you're like, "I promise it's not boring." Okay.
Right.
Also, it's insane how relatable it is because I was homeschooled and I can relate to this film so much because I can point at a kid and I'm like, "Yo, I knew a kid like that."
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Right.
And,
it doesn't just deal in stereotypes. It like it gets it kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
For sure.
I've noticed like a bit of a current crop of movies being directed by YouTubers. I only have one other example, but the other one is Mystery Guitar Man. He directed. It's one of the. It's kind of like a more dramatic movie about like harsh wilderness survival, and it's got reviews already, and it's got very, very good reviews.
Wow.
Like last I checked, it was sitting at like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh shoot,
that's awesome.
So
I have to check that out too. What's it called?
I forget.
Okay.
I will do some quick Googling. Okay, so I have news. It's called Arctic.
Okay.
And it's starring the dude from...
I wonder you couldn't remember the name.
Yeah. So yeah, it's still sitting at 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's starring the guy from Rogue One, the father, and he was also in Doctor Strange.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Wow.
Yes, that guy.
Haha.
Anyways, so yeah, it's got very good reviews. Apparently it's a very well shot, like, tense movie. So
I like it.
It's good to hear.
That's cool to see those guys killing it,
I was
man.
not a huge fan of Rogue One, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
That's
time
kind
a
of
Star
a
Wars
love it or
movie
hate
comes
it.
out, it's
Yeah,
just
hot take, though. This is an extremely hot take, I feel. I liked Solo way more.
I still need to see Solo.
Don't do it.
It's on Netflix,
Don't
dude.
do it.
No, because here's the thing I've heard about Solo. So I saw the trailers and immediately decided not to see it.
Good choice.
Then afterwards, I had a couple of friends whose opinions, even if I don't always agree with them, I definitely respect them. And they went and saw it, and they said, dude, it's nothing like the trailers, and you will like it. You need to see this.
Interesting.
And by then, it was out of theaters, and I missed it. And
Right.
then, because of just, like, how busy I am and because I prioritize other stuff, I just haven't gotten around to it. But
Right.
that's actually something I think I may like, to be
Okay.
honest. As long as it's nothing
It's a
like
fun
the
movie.
trailers. Because I didn't like the trailers, but if it's better than that, then I'm kind of down.
It's probably better than that. I feel like I really hyperbolize my hate for a lot of the Star Wars stuff that I don't like because it's fun. But really, I hated it mostly because I already knew everything that was going to happen. It was like, oh, you remember...
It was kind of by the numbers.
Yeah, but it's like... You remember Han Solo talking about that happened to him in his past, in the other movies? That happens.
Yeah.
He gets them, I guess I won't spoil it.
They had to tick
but-
off the boxes.
Right. It was just a
Kinda
list
thing.
of things that they had to tick off. Exactly. And then
Right.
there was the new character, his girlfriend, Kira or whatever the crap, that nobody cares about because she's not in the other ones, so you must assume she must die.
Right. You can't get attached to her because she's going to be gone somehow.
Right.
Either she dies or she bails. Rogue One had a bit of that as well. Like, I liked Rogue One quite a bit, but in doing so, I acknowledge that's one of the few times that you pandered directly to me, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Because Rogue One is like fan service the movie. Like, it shows us all of the things of Star Wars that everyone wants to see. It's got the cameos.
And you
it's
could
got
all you have
Darth
to do
Vader
is read the
works
opening
people.
crawl, and you have the film.
Right. Like,
Right.
Darth Vader works people as the scene that everyone remembers for good reason, because it's really cool.
Right.
And
Yeah,
because
of
that's
course.
what we've always wanted to see, is Darth Vader just lay a whole opposing force to waste.
Absolutely.
Like, it's cool. And the movie has a lot of moments like that. Or like, it just shows us more Star Wars-iness.
I like the Darth Vader scene, and that made me go, wow, I really didn't like the rest of this movie, because this last scene
fair
was like
enough.
a 10, and the rest of it was like, I didn't give a crap about any of these characters dying, and that was the whole point.
Right. I was like, yes, you killed off the characters. That was like a ballsy move and like good for you.
Right, that's
But you're
true.
not like sad about it.
Right,
Which you
which is-
probably should have been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, my question is, I have on my podcast my friend Susan. So she just saw the original trilogy, and we watched the despecialized versions, and that was like that's the shtick for the three reviews, one for each one. So, but she hasn't seen the prequel trilogy, and originally I was like, just don't worry about it. Like they're pretty awful, and I don't want to watch them again, really. But recently, I've been getting into prequel memes,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
I want to
Reddit,
know:
dude.
is it worth it for the memes to make her watch the prequel trilogy?
Absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
That's the only reason, and it's worth it, to be honest.
Actually, in my mind, that's not the only reason. I actually have a bit of a soft spot, even though I fully acknowledge that they're trash movies in terms of the way they're written, acted, directed, pretty much
That's
even
everything
like
about the movie.
The CGI doesn't hold up. However, I think the movies do have some cool ideas that, if done by a different writer and director, would have been recognized for being pretty cool.
It would have been great, man.
Like, I think, like, the for instance, like, the character of Anakin could have been really interesting.
Yep.
Had he not been the way that he was. But,
the idea...
like, I feel like I'm doing a bad job of explaining my viewpoint here. But I think there's a lot of stuff... A lot of it does come down to the way it builds up the world, too. But I think there was a lot of cool additions there. The way that they, introduced new environments, new tech. And a lot of the, like, the backstory that they introduced with, like, the Jedi Temple and stuff, I think is really interesting. Mm-hmm. Because it is a little more kind of complex. And it's got, like, its kind of its culture to it.
Right.
And it's kind of, like, weird gray areas where, like, the Jedi are misguided in their own way. And they let the Empire come about because of it.
Right.
Because they got into their weird routines and got too comfortable in it. And, like, their being weird about it is what allowed the Empire to come about, basically.
Yeah, the birth of the Empire, the turning of Anakin toward the dark side, those are all, like, interesting ideas, but it really gets bogged down by, all of the terrible acting and the bad writing and the trade routes and the blockades and the politics.
Right. Right. And the pod racing.
Oh, man, that pod race goes for like 20 minutes longer than it should. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, honestly, the thing, episode 1, a lot of people say it's the worst. I highly disagree. It's actually pretty fun to watch if you just talk over it with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I should do at some point.
Sure.
The second one, however, the second one is so mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah, the second one is
the
definitely...
second one... The second one is like two separate movies. One half of it is just Obi-Wan does detective work in battles, and that's a lot of fun, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, watching Obi-Wan just be himself is a lot of fun, because Ewan McGregor nails that character. Like, if no one else in the movie nails the character, he does.
He's probably the best part of them.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, easily. Like, he
Everybody
is
agrees
Obi-Wan
on that,
in my mind. And... like, watching him just kind of wander around and get into lightsaber fights and shootouts is fun, and I enjoy that. But then the stuff with Anakin and Padme, like, that's the stuff you skip.
Yeah.
If you there's like, I don't know. This is a very, like, millennial/Gen Z thing to say, but you have to watch it ironically and unironically simultaneously.
Oh my, that's a real juggling act right there. I'll tell you that.
Sounds like a lot of work.
You're in it for the memes, but you can also go into it recognizing there are some flashes of brilliance in it.
Yes.
Even if they're obscured by all the ridiculousness.
Yes.
So you go in for memes and then realize, hey, there's
actually some kind of... There's a really good Nostalgia Critic video. I don't watch a ton of Nostalgia Critic video, but there's a really good video that he did on, like, top 10 good things in the prequels.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's worth watching beforehand, so you kind of know what you're looking for. But there is some stuff in there that you're like, okay, you know what? That's pretty cool. Okay. That's actually... pretty dope.
I'm going to rewatch that and see if that'll help Susan along the way.
Yeah. However, like, I don't know. Since I grew up with the prequels and the original trilogy existing simultaneously, like, the prequels are inextricably linked with Star Wars, whether I want them to be or not, in my mind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Whereas, imagine having seen the original Star Wars... and then waiting all this time and then getting hit by the prequels, you'd be much more disappointed.
I would be crushed.
Because you're like, I waited all this time for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched it because they had this initiative to re-release the entire 6 movies in 3D.
Wow.
In theaters.
Remember when that was a thing?
And
3D?
Yeah. Yeah. It was at the height of 3D madness, or just after. And I went and saw it, and I'm glad I did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think a movie that had the best use of 3D was Spy Kids 3D.
That's one I have not seen, unfortunately.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, man.
It's not good.
See, I grew up with that, so it's kind of a classic in my eyes. But
yeah.
At the same time, it's like, that's terrible.
This is hot garbage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit older than you probably when
also,
I saw
there's
it,
this...
so.
Oh, my gosh. I remember specifically, there was a DVD trailer for it when it's like, oh, watch it at home, even though, home 3D movies with the red and blue glasses are terrible.
Jeez.
But it had like a clip. It's such a weird shot in the movie where I forgot the sister's name, but she just like turns around and goes like,
yeah. Uh-huh.
And then that's like the shot they used in the trailer, and it shows her doing like that outside of the TV, and the family goes,
right. Just like
right
back and drops their popcorn and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Like,
When I saw that as a kid, I was like, can they do that? That'd be awesome. Comes
right.
out
If you could
toward
actually
the
do that,
side.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, if they could do it past the limits of the TV's like square.
Bro.
you see it from the side, and the hand is like popping out of the screen, like literally.
Right,
Exactly.
waving around, hello!
That would be
See, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how you pull that off, but now I want to see someone do it, because that would
No
be pretty
idea.
cool.
Holograms.
Elon Musk.
Missed.
But I think that the big thing that kicked off the whole kind of 3D insanity was Avatar. And that's one that does
Yeah.
Probably.
benefit from it, because it's kind of that, like, it is very immersive.
And that was past the era of the red and blue glasses, right? It was like a
Yes.
clear thing at that point.
Right, and so that was another one where it was almost more like an experience than a movie for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Because
And
it's
so-
the most boring, like, thin story ever.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to criticize duology, because I know there are a lot of people who enjoyed it, but yes.
And it is still the highest grossing film of all time.
Yeah, and fair enough. They innovated where other people didn't, but then people saw that and went, if we just take our movie and make it in 3D, it automatically makes it a blockbuster, like all over again.
Yeah.
Which,
it took the wrong lesson.
and then we had like 3D TVs. You can watch sporting events in 3D. Why?
Yeah.
Why would I want
that's-
that?
That's the dumbest thing. Why would you watch sporting events?
I don't know.
Yeah, why would you watch sporting events, just in general? Why would you do that?
It's just
No,
Yeah,
as
fair
I
enough.
look at my Buckeyes,
I'm not a huge
cup
sports
right
guy.
here.
Neither am I.
I've started watching college football just because I live in Ohio.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm in California, so there's there's definitely like the basketball element.
Right.
So I do enjoy an
Yeah.
occasional game of basketball because like I've played like pickup games and stuff, so I understand how friggin' hard it is,
Right.
and like I understand the skill that goes into it, and often people do like impressive stuff. So like in small doses, I'll watch I'll root for the California team, and it's a good time, but I'm not like
Of course.
deep into it.
Absolutely. Let's just play a game instead.
All right. Well, this was a very fun 2 episodes, unexpectedly, but there you have that. we talked for what has it been, like 2.5 hours or something?
Oh,
That
most.
sounds
Nearly.
about right.
Yeah.
My recording says 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yep.
So
Nice.
And counting.
yeah,
Love
indeed. So to close this out, we are going to do a little thing where each of us says the last movie we saw, not in theaters, and the last album we listened to in full, and then kind of just a little very brief review of both.
Awesome. Okay, so the last movie that I saw, not in theaters, I believe... Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit because Infinity War I was watching yesterday, but go listen to my podcast or something, or listen to literally anybody. They're all right about the movie. It's great, whatever. The other movie that I saw with my family over Christmas was Little Giants. And if you've ever seen it, it's hilarious. I feel like it has so many like good lines and iconic scenes that it could be on the level of like Napoleon Dynamite or even
Dang.
Princess Diaries. Princess Diaries. Please, God, help me. Princess Bride.
Close enough.
Yeah, whatever. That movie. It's midnight now where I am, so I'm going to use that as an excuse.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I just feel like it would be that quotable if I had grown up with it like my whole life and just watching it over and over like I have with Princess Bride.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen it? That movie?
No.
Yes. No from Miller. Bagel?
What?
Have you ever seen Little Giants?
No, I have not.
Okay, you guys should both watch it. Okay, so the album is Burn the Ships by For King and Country. I'm literally wearing a For King and Country hat right now
Nice.
Because I just think they're that great. I have seen them twice in concert. They are fantastic. And it's not very often where I find an album where I like the artist and I like every single song on the album.
Yeah.
It's usually like, oh, I like the singles and I like, the other the one that was almost as good as the singles but didn't quite make that list.
Yeah.
That's for most albums, but I liked every single song on that album and it's great. I'm not a music guy, so I have a hard time reviewing music, but they're great.
Fair enough.
So you should listen to them. Australian band, two brothers. So much talent in that family, it's ridiculous. Like both of their wives sing, and their brother does the cinematography for their music videos.
Oh, that's cool.
Their music videos are very cinematic. It's awesome.
They're not playing around.
No, they're really not.
That's
I'm
tight.
gonna keep talking until you guys tell me that you're ready for yours. I'm just killing time
I'll
now.
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it, because I still can't remember my movie.
The last movie that I watched was yesterday, actually, which was Punch Drunk Love. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I have not seen that.
You haven't. It's a movie with Adam Sandler, and it's kind of apparently it's like a comedy, except it's
Apparently it's a comedy.
Apparently, I say apparently because it's not extremely obvious. I guess it has except the drama really goes over the whole thing. It's a much more serious role for Adam Sandler.
Okay, cool.
And he's good. The acting in it is really good. I might have to watch it again though because I just
You have to
I didn't
rewatch
get
every
it, man.
movie that you've ever watched in your whole life so that you can
No,
remember
with
it.
this specifically, it's just with this specifically, it's just so odd, I guess. Whereas I really didn't know how I felt about it after I watched it because then I saw videos of people talking about it and now I'm like, maybe that is pretty good. So I would have to watch it a second time for an actual opinion to form.
For sure.
Interesting.
Which I might do soon. But I think in the end it'll be something that you either love or hate, to be quite honest.
Gotcha.
But yes, beware children. It is not a kids movie.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Is it PG-13 or is it rated R?
It's rated R.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yes. Even though it's not even the worst R movie out there.
Sure. We're all adults here.
I love it how we're all can I say that word on
Right.
the podcast? Can I It's so homeschooler Christian.
I know.
It
It's
is.
amazing.
I
I love it.
know. Or even though I'm in two worlds now because I'm in the world of electronic music, and in the world of electronic music, people don't care. You drop a curse word in your song, people don't care. But I still feel the need to warn people if there's cursing in something
Because of the audience
right,
you have.
right. And just because I don't want to unnecessarily make anyone mad, so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. But yes, the last album I listened to in full was earlier today. I was in an Owl City mood, so I listened to All Things Bright and Beautiful.
That is a good album.
It might be my favorite Owl City album. And hot take, I can't confirm this because I don't know if I have an absolute favorite, but it might be my favorite album of all time.
That's definitely a contender. That's a really good album.
It really is, man. It's first of all, Owl City, Adam Young, he's my favorite artist probably if I had to pick one.
Yeah. I'm somewhere up there.
Yeah, and he's just great.
Yeah.
So, great album. It was the peak. A lot of people just like to say, "Oh, Ocean Eyes is the best," and it is fantastic.
Yeah.
But All Things Bright and Beautiful is just
It's lovely.
all right. And finally, Gabe Miller. Do you have your two?
Yes.
things?
Okay, so I remember the last movie I saw,
Yes.
not in theaters. It's I finally, after wanting to see it for a while, and then finally actually getting to, saw Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which was lovely.
Nice.
Which is lovely. I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright, the guy who directed it, director of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End, and most recently Baby Driver.
Hot Fuzz is wonderful.
All
Yes,
excellent
so is that.
movies. He's got a really
Baby Driver's
weird,
amazing.
off-kilter style that sometimes borders on surreal, but in a way that's really entertaining. Anyways,
Yeah.
and Scott Pilgrim's a lot of fun. Has
Fantastic.
some likable characters, and then this weird way of doing character development that I quite dug. So yeah, I'm very
Awesome.
glad that I finally got around to seeing it because it's lovely. And then the last album, this is technically an EP, But the last thing I listened to all the way through is Sungazer Volume 2 by Sungazer. It is electro jazz funk hip hop.
Oh dear.
It's weird. It's full of like.
Does anyone have a more unique taste in music than you, Gabe?
I've been on a kick at this kind of stuff lately, but the one half of it. Well, actually, both guys are on YouTube, but the kind of main guy behind it is Adam Neely. He's a YouTuber and music theory guy, so he does a lot of stuff. He's kind of like the Vsauce of music, is kind of a way a lot of people have described him.
Wow.
And
wow.
So he does a lot of videos on really weird musical topics and new horizons in music and all this kind of stuff. And so the EP is
Vsauce music here.
It's very strange, but I really like it.
Amazing.
Well, friends, this has been. What am I saying? This has been. I am Russian all of a sudden. This has been a very fun time. Leave a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube, which you probably are, unless you're supporting me on Patreon. Then you have the audio. Hello there. Plug.
Plug that.
You can leave a comment below, just being like, "Hey, I want this person to be on the podcast," or if you just have some other idea, then feel free to leave that, or tweet me at weirdnameprod on Twitter. So yes, with that, I have been Gabe.
I've been Gabe.
And I have been Gabe.
And this has been the Weird Name Pod. Thank you all. Peace.
Peace.